Before we get started tonight, ladies and gentlemen, another episode here of Fast Break on IE Sports Radio. I want to introduce y'all to a couple of our sponsors. One of our main title sponsor, the Southern California Warriors Semi-Pro Football Team. The world of semi-pro sports is unlike any other sports organizations. Players pay to play and host so many different outcomes, whether it's playing to get filmed to try for professional teams, big-time colleges, or just playing to stay in shape. No matter what, all semi-pro players have one thing in common, and that's playing for the love of the game. The SoCal Warriors have been on quest to earn titles to give players second chances since 2017. Wherever you in Southern California and anywhere in the world, give semi-pro sports a chance if you love your sport. You may get that second chance you've been waiting for as an athlete. You can find them on social media on Instagram at Southern California Warriors _Warriors, on Twitter, SoCal Warriors, and on Facebook, Southern California Warriors. Now on to the show. On tonight's broadcast, we will discuss the sentencing of Brittany Griner over in Russia. She's been sentenced to 9 years. We'll give our thoughts on that and what her future prospects are going to look like for the immediate and the future. Plus, Lebron, what does his future hold for the Lakers? With his son graduating high school here in 2023 and then possibly playing this 1 year college in 2024 draft. We'll discuss all those angles there. Plus, as talented as she is, Liz Cambridge is no longer with the Sparks. We'll discuss what's her future like in basketball and can she make it back to the NBA. We'll discuss that more here on Fast Break live on IE Sports Radio, your direct free feed for the As Always Sports, and you're welcome to join us. And join us as you shout tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to have a good discussion tonight. Lots to talk about, lots to get into. D-Lock, how you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, man. A lot going on outside of basketball. Hopefully things start to speed up eventually or come up. I wish we got a lot more things. But football season is coming around. But in the meantime, a few things is being talked about around the basketball world. LeBron situation, Brittany Griner, and a few other things, including the Kevin Durant trade possibility.
Yeah, not too much going on right now, ladies and gentlemen. Just, it seemed like after, the initial report of Kevin Durant, Kyrie asking for the trade, everything in free agency kind of really, it kind of slowed things down. But if anything's happened, just follow us on Twitter at FastBreak at IESR, and we'll give y'all what our thoughts and opinions on that. But D-Lock, this past week, Brittany Griner was sentenced to 9 years after she took a plea deal in Russia for her, for her cannabis possession. So she's sitting in 9 years in jail for cannabis, weed, how you pronounce it or your meaning. What are your thoughts on this, D-Lock? I know she took a plea deal. Hopefully she would get out and whatnot, or at least have a short sentence. That didn't happen and whatnot. So, what are your thoughts on things? Now she is sitting for this almost a decade, just for let's be real, a minor thing.
The biggest thing that clicks on to me is the fact that I feel like Russia is doing this for the attention, to grab America's attention. I just feel like right now it is a big deal for them to, want America and the president's attention with that decision. Something so small, 9 years is a lot of time. I think that for me, it's just, like I said, it's more of an attention getter. It's just the fact that they know the situation at hand, and been holding her for so long. So now, from what I've heard, being in prison or in jail in a different country is totally different than here. I know in America. So hopefully they find a way to get all this situated, but it seems like a cry for attention from Russia to me, and it just seems like they're not going to stop. They're going to ask for more attention. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out, because, like I said, for something so small, I've seen a lot of people talk about, hell, if it was more than that, then maybe she could have gotten, a longer sentence or even more trouble. So, for me, they have to come to some type of solution. Like I said, I think the 9 years was close to the maximum 10 years that she could have faced or could have gotten. Let's not forget she's been been there for a long period of time already. So, of course, they're gonna appeal it, but I think she has about a week and some change to appeal under the Russian law. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how this is gonna be played out. I really want to see how President Biden goes about this as well. That's something that I really want to see what he can do or what is done on his side. This definitely is devastating, though, to hear this, knowing that this is how things are going.
Before I get my thoughts, shout out to the chat. Shout out to Taryn Rodriguez on the chat. If y'all not following Set Point on Twitter and Taryn Rodriguez on Twitter, he's been doing an excellent job covering the NBA playoffs in San Bernardino. He's been giving interviews. Excuse me, I'll get my words out. Interviews to coaches, players, and also giving you great video as well between all teams involved. So please do give him a follow. He did a great job covering all these guys and gals at Set Point on Twitter. Terry Rodriguez on Twitter. Great job on covering those playoffs this weekend, Taryn. For me, I think I look at like this. When people, I'll start in this country here. We seen people get sentenced for cannabis, weed, whatever you want to call it, for like long sentences for like not have that much on them. Same thing kind of was going on here in Russia. She didn't have that much And it was like cartridges and stuff like that. She didn't have much on her. So I think when I look at the sentencing, yeah, it's sad. Yeah, it sucks. And I think it's a little excessive, like you mentioned. I think, Russia is doing this just to do it because they can. It's their country. And I think, as we seen on online and whatnot, I think, it was Brittany and another guy that's been in prison from the U.S. I think he's a former Marine that's been there for a couple of years as well. And I think, Russia would let them go if they give him back this guy that's been dubbed Merchant of Death, according to people. And I think the U.S. is reluctant to do that because Ukraine and Russia are still in their beef. And that dude's an arms dealer, and that carries a lot of weight. I think for me, I think it's the bigger issue globally why cannabis and stuff like that get these long sentences like this. I mean, people can say, well, Russia and then blah, 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 around the world, different rules, stuff like that. Yeah, that may be true. But we also see in this country here, as I alluded to, that people get long sentences for weed, have that much weed on them. So I look at it like, damn, why are we sending these people for like 30 years for having a gram of weed on them? Like we seen with Montrezl Harrell earlier this summer. Having all that marijuana on him when he got busted in Kentucky. I kind of curious what's going to happen with him. As we far know, I don't think the dude never been in trouble like that before this incident. I'm kind of curious what's going to happen with him. It sucks that Brittany's in a situation. I don't know, what's going to happen. I think, yeah, they can appeal and see what's going to happen. But I sent you this video the other day, yesterday. Singing and dancing ain't gonna bring Brittany home.
Nah.
Doing little acts and stuff on TikTok, it's not gonna bring her home. That's not gonna do things. Like you alluded to, if y'all really serious about getting her home, you gotta put the pressure on the federal government to try to help to get her home. You got to. Dancing on TikTok, grabbing 10 of your partners to do a skit ain't gonna bring her home. Don't accept this sentence as, oh, well, that's it. No. Put the pressure on them. U.S. people got people home for, well, I can't say way less, but they got people home who did more offensive stuff. So, I hope she come home soon. We'll see how things go. But I want to ask you this. What do you think about what her future's going to be like if she gets out in the calendar year here? What do you think is going to happen to her in your eyes? Does she continue to play basketball, take a year off, or?
Hopefully, she fixes. Hopefully, she's a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? She's more careful. I know, like I said, it is something minor to us, but these are the things that you kind of want to you kind of want to make sure that these little small things aren't happening because it can lead to bigger issues. So maybe this is kind of a warning. But we've known her history, what she's done in the past. She's had bigger situations that she had to deal with. So hopefully this is a scenario where she can really learn from this a little. Because I feel like, to be honest with you, no matter the situation, I feel like we can always find some way to learn from. And I think that is the case here. But I think that she will look at this and clearly, going overseas or playing anywhere, I'm pretty sure she's not going to have any type of drugs on her at all moving forward with that. But now it's just more so of maybe this is something that maybe possibly need to happen so she can, make that next transition in life. A lot of people have different things that have them make a transition to where they mature or start being more responsible in different ways and different reasons. And maybe this is one of the things that is going to help her do that. So I think her future is going to be fine when she gets back. Now, granted, like you said, the TikTok thing, there's people saying, oh, it's not that big of a deal. In America, do this, that, and the third. Understandable, but I think now, one thing that I learned is you kind of want to, as the quote says, you want to keep your nose clean, by all means. So hopefully, moving forward, she will make sure that she's doing all the things that she needs to just stay out of little small, ticky-tack things. Because, we've seen people have a small issue and then they say, oh, that's not their personality. They don't usually get in trouble. And then months down the road or a couple of years later, something else pops up. So, and not, we've heard that many times. So for me, I think that this needs to be a lesson learned. And she needs to watch, kind of how she moves moving forward. Because as we see, it's not only affecting, her. As she should see, it's not only affecting her, it's affecting her family, and also with the name that she has, her fans, so, and the people that watch her. So now you kind of want to watch the decision that you make, because now these small decisions can be very costly. And even though to a lot of us it's like, it's not that big of a deal, as you can see, other countries, or other people will try to take advantage of that and make it bigger than what it is. So I think moving forward, she'll use this as a lesson learned, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think after this, I don't think she'll be playing the Russia again. I know these ladies go overseas to make additional income, whatnot, and make more money than they will do in the WNBA. But I don't think she heads back over there after this. And I know people trying to bring up, well, the WNBA players need to be playing more and paid more and whatnot. And I say to that point, I say this. I wish the ladies could pay more, but if you got to look at the numbers, everything. You got to. It's like a whole bunch of factors. You gotta have support, and yes, things don't help that you got pig-headed men. I think I saw Shams. He put out early today. He put out like a tweet. Let me try and pull it up real quick. Let's see. Let's see if I got it real quick. I think he just retweeted a tweet about Minnesota Leaks forward Naphasia Collier. She's been out with maternity leave after giving birth to her daughter, and then you just had people just saying, okay, who L, some clown bought out LeBron for some reason. Imagine LeBron taking a maternity leave. you know, and that don't help things at all, and kind of dilutes the real people that really talks about the NBA. It really dilutes their voice to kind of get these ladies' names out and whatnot. But if you're really going to support the NBA, and would say D-Lock, if Brittany Griner gets released around Christmas time or something like that, and come next season she wants to play and whatnot, it can't be you can't half step the support. Meaning you can't be all eyes glued to the TV on ESPN that first game when they play, you know, the Las Vegas Aces or somebody like that, or the New York Liberty. It can't be like that.
Nah.
It's got to be continued support throughout the season. Meaning, you got buy a jersey, go to games, and whatnot. Watch the TV, you know, all that stuff. You can't just half step it in your support for these ladies.
No, it has to be all in. I mean, you have to have that mindset of supporting them through everything. So, for me, and that's I think if it's not like the NBA, the NFL, hell, MLB for the most part, and NASCAR in a sense, these are the sports that a lot of people are talking about that get the most attention. The UFC is somewhat up there, golf is from time to time as well. But we need to have that attention for the WNBA, for these other sports. We have a very similar situation with track and field. You know, the professional side of track and field. We rarely talk about track and field unless it's Olympic time.
Mm-hmm.
So those two, you know, WNBA is also in that same scenario. You know, but also what that means is because of that lack of attention that they get, they're not making a lot of money as these other teams or these other sports. So the more attention they get, you know, the more money that can be brought in, therefore the less opportunity that you have players, you know, playing in different countries. So, and it seems like that is the movement for all sports that don't get a lot of attention. Is they don't get a lot of attention here in America. They go compete somewhere, you know, in Europe somewhere or in a different country. There's a lot with soccer is like that. You know, soccer is very, very popular in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
And women's basketball, they love women's basketball over in Europe. And also track and field. Actually have something called the Commonwealth Games going on right now. That's after World Champs. And the thing about it is, there was a tweet. This is off topic a little bit, but there was a tweet that so they have a morning session and they have a night session. And in the morning session, they had the stadium in England. And the stadium was literally packed, like hundreds of thousands of people for the morning session. And that's just for, you know, no finals, just prelim, just a couple things. So that shows you what type of support that they have, you know, in Europe for track and field and also other sports. So, like I said, I'll probably give you an example. I'm pretty sure, and the reason why a lot of us athletes, like the WNBA, different sports, they go over to Europe is because they appreciate it more. Quick story, I had a meet over in Berlin, and I'm going to the track meet, getting on the bus to go, and literally when I go downstairs of the hotel, there's like probably 15 or 20 people asking for autographs. Not just for me, but for all the other athletes, right? So I go up to this guy, and he comes up to me, and he shows me this picture. This guy has a picture of me when I was in high school running.
Ah.
And I'm like, first of all, I'm like, where the hell did you find this picture? Like, I'm a professional right now running for Nike, and you're showing me a picture. This was like in 2015. You're showing me a picture when I ran back in like 07, 08. So that's just a small like example of how like they treat some of these other sports over in Europe. So if we can get that same energy for the WNBA, for track and field, for soccer, you know, for all these other sports, mainly the WNBA, the income would be crazy. I'm pretty sure also a lot of people notice that when SportsCenter does their top 10, they always are talking about the sports that we love over here in America. They barely show, WNBA highlights. That could be top 5, top 3, even number 1. I told you about a girl that ran the 400 hurdles. The record was like 51.4, and she ran 50.4. She then dropped it a whole second, and that was in top 10. So I think that SportsCenter, ESPN, they can also give the WNBA, all these other sports, more attention, and maybe that brings more fans. So, but that's I really think, like I said, if we bring more support, buy more jerseys, sell out these games, more TV recognition, not just on ESPN, maybe NBA, NBC Sports, TBS, show those games, how we do the NCAA tournament, how TBS has its full, coverage of the Final Four in these different tournaments. I think we should have the same thing for the WNBA. And I think that shows that'll bring a lot more income.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's like, if you can support these ladies, don't half step it. Don't half step it. Step it. And I think, the league has to. I mean, I know they had the NBA backing behind them. Like, get better marketing out there. If you got pig-headed comments, then that's gonna suck. But you got very much talented ladies in the league right now. It sucks that Paige Beckers, guard from UConn, got hurt. So, but I'll say this. That's one lady. That's one girl right there. You really got to really, if you trying to get more attention in your league, that's one girl you gotta start building up through the media and whatnot. And I don't know. I mean, which avenue you go through, because let's be honest. If you go to Fox, Skip Bayless, all he does is talk about LeBron. We'll get to him in a second, in a little bit. All he does is talk about LeBron and really don't talk about nothing else. Maybe besides your Buccaneers, since Brady's on there, and whoever he's hating on this week, he ain't gonna really talk about women's basketball like that. You gotta find a right media avenue that would be unbiased to bring a good spotlight to your league. So
yeah, and the only thing, and I'll just say this, sorry to cut you off. One thing about that we noticed is this is a big news to everybody now. ESPN is talking about Brittany Griner being arrested and getting sentenced, but they don't talk about the WNBA on a regular like this.
No.
So now that you're getting that negative attention, they're giving that negative attention for. So it's not helping that right there. Like, you literally hear that, and it's gonna run away fans, But you're not talking about Yana Taurasi, Skylar Diggins, or these different championships have it, or the draft, which is, I think, the WNBA draft is usually on ESPN too. It doesn't last too long, but it's usually like right after the NCAA tournament. You really have to be, paying attention to college basketball to know exactly when, the WNBA draft is, because the Final Four will be done, and then a couple days later or a couple weeks later is the WNBA draft. So these type of things need to be, discussed and talked about even more, just like they're talking about the negative things. So, and that's huge. I think that plays a huge part. So I think that's what needs to be happening is we need to have that support. Not only the support, but the positive outlook of what's going on with them to give them that type of support. It doesn't always have to be, oh, well, hell, let's talk about WNBA because a huge person in the league is in some type of trouble. Like, why it can't be something great about the Mercury or another team. So I think those are the things that it's very important and would make a big difference. because the more people, and that's why I think they need to have an expansion of teams in WNBA, and they need more games.
Yeah.
Because the season is so short. Literally, the season is over as soon as it starts. So as soon as like people may get used to it, the next thing you know, it's over with. So, and that's like I said, I think that if you can get more people involved, more teams, invest more money, not just the big cities to have the money for a WNBA team. I think some of these other cities need to have a team. And the great thing that we see, I think the NBA is doing some type of help, because for those out there that play NBA 2K, remember there was a time where there was no WNBA on the video game. It was just literally NBA 2K. That's it. And now, not only do they have the teams on there, but they're also putting some of the players on the front of the game covers. So, and I think that's really huge too. I think that's very big. More support would always be better.
Yeah, and then like before we get to the LeBron subject, I think you brought a point. Like, look what happened with the large LA Sparks with Liz Cambridge leaving, this up and quitting. And you follow her timeline, her stories and stuff since she entered the league. She always been a headache, whatnot. Very talented lady, 6'8", very talented lady. But she's always never worked out anywhere. And then the comments when she was playing for the team, the Australian team, and the comments she made against the Nigerian squad and stuff like that. That stuff that probably didn't get more headlines. And on top of that, some of her teammates are Nigerian for the Sparks. The Kumike sisters. So like the kind of not. I mean, as humans, we kind of are drawn to negativity because we like drama. Male and female. But for the WNBA, the only time we talk about them is like stuff like this. And it shouldn't be like this. And I know, and Brittany Griner is a big story. A star athlete from her prep career up till now is jailed in another country. It sucks. And I think before we change subject, that I just kind of hate the selective outrage of certain folks. Saying, well, if she did the crime, she gotta do the time. Knowing that it's somebody else got some trouble elsewhere, they'll be on singing a different tune saying, well, we gotta get them out. The government gotta get our boy home and whatnot, or girl home. So, for those folks, I want y'all shut up. If somebody else does a crime in a different country or whatever, they gotta do the time. Don't have this energy for Brittany to do everything. I mean, just because she did something to have this energy for her, and then somebody else do the same thing in another country. So we gotta get them home. They're good people. But that's all I gotta say on that, D-Lock.
No, I'm with you. I mean, like I said, I totally agree on the most part. A lot of the things, but it does relate to the fact that only thing that really does stick out is the fact that the attention that the WNBA is getting is on the fact that it's something negative, and it shouldn't be like that. So, you get more attention here in the States, maybe where they're not going overseas, because listen, for those that have not experienced, being in a different country as an athlete, they treat you totally different over there. The attention of how LeBron is treated here, multiple athletes that are not on the level that he is get that type of attention over in different countries. So they do, want to make those trips. Like I said, we talked about it last week. I told you my cousin Ronaldo, who got drafted by the Knicks and played with the Knicks and the Nuggets. He's playing in Puerto Rico right now. And he has no desire to come back to the NBA. Like, granted, he's a little older now, but the fact is, he's getting a pretty decent, exposure there and loving having fun playing ball there. So, like I said, if we can bring that energy here in the States, I think we might see a lot more athletes stay in the country rather than go play somewhere else.
And we'll leave it on that note there, and we'll see what happens with Ms. Griner down the road. But to flip topics, D-Lock, we go from locked up in a different way. As of August 4th, LeBron James is eligible for an extension with the Lakers. As reports indicated that, talks have been pretty good and whatnot. D-Lock, a lot of things to consider here. LeBron and his future with the Lakers. He's eligible for a 2-year extension. Things to keep I think the major thing to keep in mind is his eldest son, Junior, Bronny James, who graduates high school in 2023. If he decides to play college, he'll be draft eligible by 2024. Let me pull up LeBron's current contract right now. Let's see. That contract will expire at the end of this upcoming year. So, if he signs a 2-year contract, that will bleed over to the 2025 year unless he do a 1-and-1 type of deal. So, D-Lock, what do you think LeBron would do in regards with his future with the Lakers?
Well, to be honest with you, I think he's keying in on. I think, to be honest with you, we know what the deal is going to be. It'll be a 2-year deal at max. Now, obviously, he wants to play with his son, which is fine. My biggest thing is I think the thing that's holding up this situation is trying to figure out what they're going to do moving forward to win. LeBron is how old right now? 38?
I think 37.
37. He turns 38, I think, in December, right?
Yeah.
So he's about to be 38. He doesn't have that much longer to be playing in the league. He knows that. But LeBron is not a part of a rebuilding thing. And to be honest with you, the history of the Lakers is not showing a team that wants to rebuild. So for me, I think he wants to see what they're going to do moving forward to see what they're trying to do as a team if they're trying to win a championship. Now, I think to be honest with you, and I'll go real honest and raw here, I think if Russ was already traded prior to this, I think that deal is already sealed and delivered. So I think that right now, that could be possibly one of the things that's holding up this scenario. I feel like, he clearly doesn't want to leave California. Loves it there, so does his family. But it's just the fact that he's about winning. Now we know he's going to get a chance to take over the scoring title this year. We understand what's going on with that, but that's not all he wants. So for me, I think this is going to take some time, but I feel like we're going to see what is going on with this Russ deal, see if they make that trade, and see how that goes. I feel like if there's a huge possibility that if Russ is on the roster, which many believe, by the start of the season, that LeBron is probably, there's a good chance he may not sign that long-term deal or that 2-year deal in my eyes.